All right, so one time I was at my friend's house. He was having a little barbecue get together thing to have a housewarming party, and his nephew ended up biting me over something I said about Minecraft, and this is that story time. So without further ado, let's go. So, like I said, this happened when I was at a friend's house. When it happened doesn't really matter. All you gotta know is, like I said, I went over to his house because he had just moved into his new place. He was having a little get together with a couple friends, mostly family. There wasn't a whole lot of people there. Just enough to the point where, like, you could walk into a room, have a conversation, go into another room, talk to a different group of people. Like, just enough to be at that point, but not much bigger than that. So, regardless, I was just kind of walking around with a plate of food, talking to people. And I was talking to his family members, and they were kind of asking what I do, and I was kind of explaining it to them. And they were like, oh, you should meet your friend's nephew, who's 12. He's, like, super, super into Minecraft. And obviously, I don't really, like, know a whole bunch about Minecraft. I've played it about as much as every other gamer had. It's not like my channel is super Minecraft focused or anything, but whatever. I was like, oh, that's cool. And they were like, yeah, and they just kind of stared at me. And I knew something was weird because, like, they pointed out that his nephew was over there. And when I walk up to him and just said, hey, just to try to, like, start a conversation because no one was talking to him, his mom looks over at me and says, oh, yeah, you can try to talk to him all you want, but he doesn't really do the talking thing. And, I get it. Some people just don't like social situations, but it was just kind of weird the way that she said it. So I must have looked confused. There must have been a weird look on my face. Because she started to explain that for the last month or so, he had become increasingly convinced that he was actually a cat. And about 2 weeks ago, he had just stopped talking and was now only communicating by, like, meowing, hissing, or scratching people. So, dude was actually living his life as a feline. It would have been one of those, like, TLC shows where they're like, my strange obsession is pretending to be a cat. And regardless, I guess he must have been paying enough attention to overhear his mom explaining to me how he thinks he's a cat because he looks over at us and at that moment goes, like hisses at us like a cat and then crawls away on all fours out of the room. And honestly, I did not know how to react in that situation. It's not every day somebody's like, oh yeah, that dude thinks he's an animal, and then they hiss at you and crawl out of the room. I was kind of like, all right, well, that's weird. I'm not going to lie. That was not what I was expecting. But obviously, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to act normal, considering that his family's right there. It's not like now's the time to be like, dude, what is up with your nephew? Why is he thinking he's a cat? Regardless, like I said, I'm not really saying too much. I'm just kind of keeping my mouth shut, but in my mind, I'm thinking about how weird that entire interaction was. And what was weirder to me was the fact that nobody said anything about how weird it was. They just, like, all acted like it was normal. Listen, I understand that sometimes 12-year-olds have a hyperactive imagination, but I would hope that if I was acting like a cat for a month straight, somebody in my family would have said something and been like, dude, what are you doing? The fact that everybody just kept going about their business eating barbecue like it was a perfectly normal occurrence for him to hiss at somebody and then crawl out of the room definitely threw me off. So whatever, I was kind of talking to my friend whose house party it was, and I was mentioning something about his cousin kind of like acting like a cat, right? And I wasn't saying anything mean about it, I was just kind of talking to him about it, and he said, watch this. And we, like, walked into a room where his cousin was, and he just kind of started loudly talking about Minecraft. And as soon as the word Minecraft was said, you could just see Catboy's ears perk up a little bit, you could tell that he was eavesdropping on the conversation, just definitely doing his best not to look like he's paying attention. So whatever, me and my friend are just kind of talking about Minecraft back and forth, and it was kind of entertaining because, like, we would say something and his cousin would just react with a facial expression but was trying to act like he wasn't listening. Like, it was just kind of fun. So whatever, we're talking about Minecraft, and at a certain point I was like, maybe he's gonna come talk to us about Minecraft. Like, maybe Catboy's gonna drop the act if we talk about something he's into enough. So whatever, he's staring at us for a while, and finally he makes a move. He starts crawling over on all fours like a possessed demon, right? Like over to where we're sitting. And he like crawls over and just stares at us the entire time. I'm telling you, it was like he was possessed. If you would have told me this was Paranormal Activity 17 footage, I would have believed you. And he just kind of crawls by and like ends up behind my friend and I, listening to the conversation. And so I'm freaked out at this point because I'm like, dude, he's behind me now. I don't have a vantage point. If Demon Cat Boy decides to like, I don't know, eat a human, then like, I can't block him. He's behind me now. So we just kind of keep talking about Minecraft, but the hairs on my neck are standing up because I just don't like the vibe of like, I can feel him staring at me, but I can't look. And finally he growls something. And I realize he's saying something, and he growls it again, and he's like, "What do you know about Minecraft?" Like, that's what he says, except it was more of a growl. I can't even do it right. And at this point, I've straight up got the heebie-jeebies, all right? This kid is acting like he's possessed, dude. I've seen enough scary movies to know how this usually goes down, like a ghost is gonna start slamming doors and stuff. No, thank you. And on top of it, the fact that the only thing he said other than hissing like a cat is, "What do you know about Minecraft?" Possessed like a demon does not really help the overall vibe, you know? I don't think he's actually possessed, but it wasn't like I was feeling great about the situation. So I just tried to calmly say something that I thought would be good in this situation. I said, "Oh, I know a little bit about Minecraft, you know, I've been playing since the beta, I'm pretty old," just trying to make a joke about how, like, I've been playing for a while. And my thought was, this kid really likes Minecraft, so he's gonna think that, like, playing during the beta is kind of cool. I don't know, I just assumed that would be the reaction. But instead, all the demon act, like the cat hissing, everything dropped, and he just started screaming, "You did not play in the beta! You did not play in the beta! No one played in the beta!" And he's like hissing after each sentence, but he's now British every sentence. I don't really understand what the accent of the cat was, you know, maybe they're all British. And I'm just kind of confused on what he's saying, because, like, you know, sure, I understand the beta happened before Minecraft came out, but it was pretty popular for a long time before the full version released. Like, a crap ton of people played the beta. It's not like that's rare, you know? I understand it was a long time ago now, but there was, like, at least a couple million accounts online at the end of the beta, so it's not like it's incredibly rare. So I was like, I really did play during the beta, because I did. And his reaction to me claiming to play during the beta was, "You lie about Minecraft! You must pay for your transgressions!" And at that point, I'm like, oh no, I don't know what that means, but it's not great. And Nightcrawler over here, this wannabe X-Man, just lunged at me from all fours like a track star taking off, just lunges through the air, dude. Teeth barred like a tiger. Everything kind of slowed down for a minute. I'm just kind of watching this like Minecraft addicted cat boy flying through the air, knowing he's about to try to bite me, you know, and there's really nothing I can do about it. And in that like amount of time where time's going a little bit slower, I decide to stand up. And when I stand up, the trajectory of him launching at me just kind of ends up with his head like smacking into my elbow forearm area. And, you know, I guess that was all he needed, because the next thing I feel is just teeth clamping down on my forearm as this kid bites down after launching onto me from like this hunting position. So at this point, I am literally just like a little bit in shock. Obviously, I feel him bite me, but it's not like I expected this to happen. This kid has literally bit into my arm for saying that I played the Minecraft beta. And I wasn't even making it up, dude. Like, I legitimately did. Not that this matters at all, but I'm just super confused on why I'm getting attacked in this situation, because I didn't do anything. But sure enough, there's a very real person biting my arm. So I am just standing here, and finally, like, you know, I come to a little bit, and I decide that I'm just gonna yell something. So I look at my friend, and I'm like, "Get it off me." And he's looking at his nephew that is now attached to my arm, and is like, "What are you doing? Why are you biting him?" We're both just insanely confused on what happened. And I guess we must have been yelling pretty loudly, because the next thing I know is like hearing a bunch of people come into the room, and it's all the adults from the other room. So it's, you know, this kid's mom, his aunts, like all of his family, and a couple of our friends. And his mom runs over and starts like peeling this Minecraft demon off of me, dude. I don't know if it was like a zombie situation or what, but he literally gets peeled off me. I feel his teeth release. And so I'm just kind of standing there like, what? And at that point, my friend's mom is like, "Are you okay?" And "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I don't even know. I haven't even looked at my arm yet." So I look down at my arm and I'm kind of like surprised what I see. I thought it was going to be worse. I mean, I was bleeding a little bit, don't get it wrong. But considering this dude literally flew through the air and bit into my arm, I was expecting to have like, a little chunk of flesh dangling or something. I'm not going to lie. Like maybe a little bit of a Shark Week moment. It was just feeling like that in my head. I had a couple little marks where like his teeth had poked through the skin, but nothing too bad. But there was definitely teeth marks. You could tell someone had bitten me, and I was like, I've never been attacked by a demon before, this is a first. And honestly, I was just kind of in shock at that moment, but this is a stupid fear to admit out loud. One of my first thoughts was like, what if he has venom? Only because I know humans don't have venom, but humans also aren't supposed to think that they're cats and be running around lunging and attacking people that played Minecraft at different times than them, So just for a split second, I'm not proud of it, but I definitely was like, maybe he's got a poison of some type. Thankfully, my logical brain kicked back in and was like, all right, there's no way the human is poisonous. But I'm just saying, if he thinks he's a cat, he's roaming around acting like one, who knows what type of cleaning products he's eaten. Maybe he's like combined some different things in his mouth that together like create the bacteria for the bubonic plague. I'm not trying to take my chances. This is the type of person that runs around biting people. It's not like logic and understanding is at the forefront of anything in this situation. So whatever, the kid's peeled off me. His mom is talking to me, or my friend's mom. His mom has the demon child, and they're all kind of telling him to calm down and asking what happened. And so I start kind of like explaining what happened. I'm like, me and my friend were talking about Minecraft. He came up behind us and asked what we knew about it. So I said when I started playing, next thing I know, he flew through the air and bit me. And what's nuts is like I expected maybe a couple people to push back a little bit on my saying, like, he bit you for no reason, but nobody acted that surprised. They were all just kind of like, oh no, I'm so sorry that happened. That's crazy. But they were saying, oh no, that's crazy, but not like being very convincing, So at that point, Demon Kid's mom like pulls me into the kitchen and she's like, don't sue me, please don't sue me. And she grabs ice out of the fridge, like puts it in a bag and puts it on my arm. And the entire time she's putting the ice on me, she's like, really, we can figure something out. Just like, please don't sue me, please don't sue me. And I'm really confused by this because I haven't even mentioned suing her at all. It's just like not my vibe. I'm not trying to sue anybody. Obviously, your kid's a little bit nuts because he thinks he's a cat and is biting people over Minecraft, but I think that's punishment enough, There's no reason for me to go to court. Unless you, like, get me rabies or something, at which point, I've got to sue you if I get rabies, okay? Like, there's really not much I can do, but I kind of tell her, like, I'm not going to sue you. I wouldn't do that. It's not like you told him to bite me, It's not like I walked into my friend's house for the barbecue and they were like, eat him now! Like, that's just not what happened. So she kind of looks relieved and she's like, well, that's great because the last person that he bit wanted to sue us for it. And she says that like it's a pretty normal sentence to say, like we should just graze over it. And she kind of keeps talking and my brain takes a second to catch it. And I'm like, wait a second, what did you just say? Like, can you say that one more time? And she goes, yeah, well, the last person that he bit wanted to sue us for the bite. So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't something that you were, trying to do. Like, please don't sue us. And I'm trying to stay calm. And so I'm like, oh, this isn't a one-time thing? Like, that's what I say out loud. But in my head, I'm like, last person he bit? You're telling me that this is a consistent problem? Like the patch notes for this dude is just part of it was like, oh, he just started biting people like crazy. I'm just saying, I was definitely feeling a little bit different after that. At first, I'm like, oh, this dude's just nuts. What's going on? But now I'm coming to find out that he's got a pattern of just biting people. What is going on? And his mom's like, well, you're the third person that he's bit like this. And so she kind of adjusts the ice and she's like, but we're going to figure it out. And honestly, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Because like, you bite one person and never do it again, you learned your lesson. You bite two people and do it again, I don't understand. If I'm the third person you're biting over Minecraft, I feel like you just kind of have to like accept the fact that you don't have a kid, you have a canine. Like, let's be honest here. And so I kind of make a joke to his mom. I'm like, well, if he's going to be biting people that often and he's bitten 3 people by now, you might want to put him on a leash or something. And I was only half joking, I'm just saying if your kid's running around biting people people, it might not be a bad idea to get one of those backpacks that has the leash built in. I'm normally against people having it, but if your kid's biting people, you might not have a choice. And maybe even a leash isn't enough, dude. We might have to go muzzle if it's like reaching to the point where, you know, if he's only thought he's a cat for a month and he's bitten 3 people, that's almost 1 a week. That's not great odds. And I was like half kidding, you know, and his mom's like, well, you try to control someone that genuinely thinks they're a cat. It's awful. And I did feel a little bit bad for her. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I don't know how you end up in a situation where you think you're a cat in the first place. It's just all messy. So, yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, it's okay. And she leaves the kitchen, so I'm just kind of standing there with this ice on this bite mark. And I start to think about why I got bitten. And I'm really confused because I'm like, you know, I didn't threaten him or anything. All I said was that I played Minecraft during the beta, which I really don't understand why that was so unbelievable. Like, truthfully, like I said, I don't know exactly how many people played the Minecraft beta, but I know everyone in my school played it for sure. I was not, you know, an outlier for playing Minecraft at the time. So I didn't realize that it was so rare that I might be getting like a rabies shot over it, you know? Either way, after that, when I tried to like go back and rejoin the festivities, the vibes were kind of off, which I get. You know, obviously things were kind of weird, so I bounced out pretty early. No one wants to hang out with the guy that might be a potential zombie, like what's the person? Patient Z, like the first person to get infected with the zombie virus. No one wants to hang out with that guy, and you know, for at least 48 hours after I was bitten, I was curious if I was going to turn into a zombie or not. I'm very glad I didn't. Saved y'all from the apocalypse. You're welcome. Anyways, overall, you know, the friend's still a good guy. I definitely won't be hanging at his house anytime soon, though, and especially not if there's a family barbecue. I'm just going to avoid that at all odds, and I would recommend if you don't want rabies doing the same. Overall, I don't know why Cat Dude decided to be a cat. I don't know why he bit me. I don't know any of this at all. All I'm saying is that it was a weird situation I would not recommend. Standing up and feeling a person hanging off your arm by their teeth is not great. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And, of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. If you don't know what to comment, go ahead and comment Skate3 down below. It helps the video do better. If you really want to help me out, I'll put a link to the intro song down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. Or, of course, you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. It would mean a whole lot. You get a discount on G Fuel, and it helps me. I'd appreciate it. There's also a link in the description to my merch store if you want to check that out and buy a t-shirt. I definitely wouldn't mind. It's the coolest merch to ever exist, not that I'm biased at all. And yeah, on that note, guys, that really will do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see each and every single one of you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.